As you know, in Chapter 4, we're talking about triangles. Well, a triangle is a very specific type of polygon, and we never really defined what a polygon was, so I did want you to write this down. A polygon is a closed plane figure made up of line segments. So polygons are things like triangles and pentagons and hexagons. But again, this chapter we're really focusing on triangles, and in these coming sections we're focusing on congruent triangles. But since triangles are polygons, we can define congruent polygons. Two polygons are congruent if they have the same size and same shape. That is, if their corresponding angles and sides are congruent. So, here I have my two triangles. I have triangle ABC and triangle XYZ. Now, if I look at their corresponding parts, I need to check to make sure that each of the corresponding parts is congruent. And you just follow the markings. So, I'm going to grab my pen here. If I start with the sides, right, we have side AB, and that has one tick, and it matches with side XY, which has one tick. Oh, nope, not XY, sorry, ZY. Whoa, that was a big eraser. All right, that goes with segment ZY. All right, then we go to the next one. Two ticks here, so segment AC is going to be corresponding with which segment? Drum roll. Yep, XY. And then the third side, because as we know, triangles have three sides, three angles, for a total of how many parts? That's it, 6. Yes, it has 6 parts. So we need to show that all 6 parts are congruent. So BC has 3 ticks, matches with XZ. With 3 ticks. Those are corresponding parts. Those corresponding parts are congruent. That's how we follow those tick marks. Okay, let's do the same thing for the angles. So let's start with angle C. It's got 1 arc on it. So angle C is congruent to, looking at your second triangle, angle X. Angle B has 3 arcs. That's going to correspond with angle Z. And angle A has 2 arcs, and that's going to correspond with angle Y. So as I said, triangles have 3 sides and 3 angles. So in order to show triangles are congruent, you have to show that all 6 corresponding parts are congruent. Let's say we had 2 quadrilaterals. If we wanted to show that they were congruent, you would have to show that all 4 corresponding sides are congruent as well as all 4 corresponding angles. Now, once we have all of our corresponding parts labeled and written out and matched up, we write what's called a congruence statement. So a congruent statement says, well, triangle ABC is congruent to blah, blah, blah. Okay? But when you write the congruent statement, you have to write it so that the corresponding parts are matched. So what I always do is I pick the first triangle. I'm going to start with triangle ABC. Okay? Now, that's going to be congruent to my other triangle. But the kicker is that you have to make sure that you match all the corresponding parts. So vertex A, which is also angle A in the triangle, angle A, has 2 arcs. And we know from our list here that that's going to correspond with angle Y. So we start the second triangle name with a Y. Then we go to B. B's got 3, corresponds with Z, and then finally X. So when I read this congruent statement, I can say, oh, okay, well, A corresponds with Y, angle B with Z, and so on and so forth. And I can even do segment AB corresponds with segment YZ. Is that true? Yes, it is. That's what we wrote up here. Then we could do segment BC corresponds with ZX. Is that true? Yeah, right there. And then lastly, AC would correspond with YX. And we wrote that here. Look at it. It looks like winking faces, winking eyes. Like, look at that. Yeah, you got it. Yay. Yay. Wink, like, good job. Okay, so how about you try this one? How do you write a congruent statement here? It's already started for you. Pause it, see if you can fill it in. And our answer is, oh, I forgot to write the triangle. Triangle TSR. Did you get it? All right, now here, identify all of the corresponding congruent parts. You just wrote the congruent statement, right? So you don't even need the picture. If you have the congruent statement, so what was our congruent statement? JKL, TSR. So triangle JKL is congruent to triangle TSR. You actually don't even need the picture. This is the same figure as before, so I know this is going to work. But watch what happens without looking at the picture. So pretend it's not there, okay? That means that segment JK is going to be congruent to segment TS, right? And KL is going to be congruent to SR. And JL is going to be congruent to TR. We could do the same thing with the angles. Angle J is congruent to angle T, angle S congruent, angle K congruent with angle S, I just want to stay in the same order, and angle L congruent with angle R. And if you checked your picture, if we wrote the congruent statement correctly, it should match all of the markings here on your sketch. Okay? Double check that. While you double check that, I'm just going to make a little face. They're smiling at you for us doing such a good job. Yay! Okay. Fun! Great! Okay, you're ready to practice.